Hey, Darcy here with a boomer bust about Mind Sculpt Games economics. We are a family game store at 2521 10th in Great Bend, and this is our play space. So we pay rent on this, we got lights on this. Actually, we keep the lights on this all night with our window open trying to show people that we have game space. And this video is about the economics and the risk of paying for this and not keeping product back here, but keeping it for events. So this is a really good weekend to talk about events because the biggest Magic set in a while, Guilds of Ravnica, just released. Ravnica is a loved plane for a lot of Magic players. So people that were playing in 2008, people that were playing in 2014, they might have thought about returning to the game with this set. And new players are getting some of that contagious excitement. When players are excited about Magic the Gathering, when they're excited about the storyline, when they're excited about the art, when they're excited about being able to play and learn and teach through Arena, well, that excitement is contagious. Why is that excitement contagious? Because face-to-face games are social. So why as a businesswoman who closely watches my money, who tries to keep all the numbers, I got a break-even analysis and an Excel sheet, I know my cost of my employees, I know my cost of my rent, I estimate my cost of my electricity, and then I have a break-even point of how much I have to sell at what kind of margin to know that I have covered all my costs. We made that break-even point 3 days ago. We made that Friday at 2 o'clock, and then we had 3 days straight of pre-releases, and it was really good for us. So business, when we can get events to fill these tables were filled on Friday, these tables were filled on Sunday. They were kind of filled on Saturday, but that is because our midnight pre-release, people weren't ready to get up at noon and do it again yet. But why would we invest our money, our time, our staffing into events? Why would we have these tables? Look, there's no event on these tables right now. We are open, it's a Sunday night, and there's nobody at these tables. Why am I paying rent on these tables? Well, it's an educated gamble. I am a millennial. I was born in 1986. I'm 32 years old. That puts me in the millennial age range for most qualifications, right? I remember the first time I dialed into AOL. I remember putting a Mac Tandy disk in a computer and learning my ABCs with Grover. I remember years of playing Ultima Online, and some of my best friends in middle school I never met, and I went through dungeon crawls with them, okay? I'm that generation. Now, millennials are actually pretty similar in ways to Gen Y. Gen Y, there's an article that's floating around the internet that's talking about Generation Y hitting the office space, Generation Y entering the work world, right? And trying to analyze what kind of workers Generation Y will be. And these are people that, more than me, they're digital natives, right? Like, since I've been able to read and write shortly after I was able to log on to the internet. But Generation Y, not only are they able to log on to the internet, they're cell phone natives. They are video content natives. How many things in their life have Gen Y people learned to do through a YouTube video? A lot, right? That's why video content is part of our marketing here. But it's also why these tables are part of our rent marketing. Our physical foot space is one of the most important marketing pieces we have. And here's why. It's not a gimmick. This is a genuine thing. Like, I'm a millennial. I need this problem solved for me just as easily. When we grow up with screens, when we grow up around the internet, when I make friends with Ultima Online that I've never met before, it's pre-EverQuest, pre-Warcraft. It's one of the first massive online role-playing games. I played Ultima 6 with my dad on Quest of the Avatar, I don't know, 5th grade or so. I still have a soft spot in my heart for the Ultima series. But to make friendships with people that I met through a screen and I only knew through Pixels or maybe ICQ, which was an early chat feature, that's part of my formative experience, right? Was I a socially awkward teenager? Well, yeah. Most of my friendships, though, that weren't on the basketball court or the softball field. So athletics is a big part of my life. And I did make friends there, you know, kind of. I made friends there, okay? But also, most of my friendships were in a game store. I made them in a game store. Why? Well, I didn't have to know the latest pop culture to talk to people there. All I had to do was sit down with cards and know the rule set, and I could make friends. I didn't have to live there long to make friends. My dad was in the military. I think I went to 15 schools before I graduated high school. But you know what? Every time I moved to a new space, I could look in the phone book, look online, find the card shop, show up with some cards, and people would talk to me. I was important if I had a trade binder, and I could make friends right away. So I'm a millennial. I've spent a lot of screen time. I've played those online games. I've made friends through screens with people I didn't know. And where did I find easy, safe, reliable, any town I was in, as soon as I moved there, interactions? At a store like ours. Now, Generation Y, they've grown up on those cell phones, right? And I'm not saying you're socially awkward if you're 24. I'm not. But what science is saying about Generation Y, kids that have grown up with school shootings, kids that have grown up with the Great Recession of 2008. Do we get to call that great? With the economic upheaval of 2008 affecting their parents. Kids that have grown up with YouTube videos and admiring people that they only know through the camera, but aren't big TV network stars. Kids that have grown up with terrorism threats all their life. They want safety. They want reliable, easy, and fun social interactions. You know what these tables give you? This is why our business model works. Because we sell social that is easy to interact with. You sit down with a board game, you pull out the rules, you know how to act. You sit down at a table and you have magic cards and you get paired up against somebody, you have a reason to talk to them. You've just met them. And if the game goes well and you're not a punk, you've just made a friend. That's how game stores work. And it's not just for socially awkward people. I've maybe outgrown that socially awkward part. Maybe. But if I'm a mom and my 7-year-old could be playing Fortnite, or I could get him to play Tsuro, and we spend 10 minutes together with real interaction, and he's still playing by a rule set where there's a cause and effect, which is basically what video games are, but now instead of a screen, he's doing it with me. Why are board game shops going to succeed in 2018, 2019? Cell phones are always going to be there. People are going to spend money on in-app purchases, but we are human, and we want social interaction. We desire it. So Magic has this new software called Arena, and you can learn to play Magic on it, and you can play Magic in events like our pre-release, but you'd play them online. And you know what? That's going to be more comfortable for some people, that they don't want the store atmosphere, that the store atmosphere is hard to interact in, that the store atmosphere makes them, you know, sometimes anxious or whatever, or maybe they are awake at 2 in the morning and they work a different shift than we're normally open, so their time's different. Great opportunity, right? And even those players who meet the game online, even those players who do play mostly online, occasionally they're going to want the social experience. Occasionally they're going to want to bring their trade binder and talk to people about their cards, and maybe talk about the attachment they have to certain art or certain cards or certain sets that were their favorite, because they want that human piece. Generation Y, Millennials, Generation X, we're all really kind of the same, because human nature, when it boils down, we want interactions. We want safe interactions. We want to know how to act, you know, within certain limits. We want clear expectations, which a rule set gives us. These are all things that make this rent space, in a way, worth it. I don't sell tables and chairs. I'll sell you the playmats. You want the playmats? But what we do sell is safe social interaction that's meant to be fun. We sell community, right? So I'm going to give you a quick tour of the store here. I'm going to point you this way anyway. Probably a third of our space are these tables right here. And that's kind of risky. Like, I could put more product there and my sales for square foot might go up or might go down. It was also kind of risky to move my camera. But what we're banking on is that the experience created at this table, those players who came to a pre-release for the first time after meeting Magic at the open house, that we will create someone who enjoys the game, someone who meets people through the game, someone who has positive interactions and relationships through the game. Why do we have event space? Well, because we want to help people create community. We want to help build positive relationships in our community. We want to help people like me find friends. And you know what? Most of my friendships, I don't think I've dated a guy that never played Magic. Well, okay, so that's kind of a nerdy fact in my life. I married the man that I met at the arena in one of the tournaments. I met my husband playing Magic, so that's just one of those things in my life, right? But what we have here is the opportunity to enrich our community in hopefully a way that pays it forward, pays us back, but we build something. And when you build something for someone, like positive relationships, well, the next thing they want to do is share that with someone else and try to get someone else to build a positive relationship here, even if that relationship's with them. It's easy to invite someone to a game community that you're a part of because you have the game, which is an item of interest. So they don't have to be just interested in you. They can be interested in the game and share that experience with you. Maybe only occasionally, maybe a lot. But what this offers us is the chance to be sticky, the chance to be meaningful, the chance to be a part of people's lives in a way that allows enrichment and that human essential part of friendships, of communications. Did you know that if you use your phone during a Magic draft, you can be disqualified? There are rules against cell phone use. In a highly competitive event, if you touch your phone, you lose the match. Like, that's the environment sometimes. Now, is there a place to play Magic on a device? Yeah, sure. And if that feels comfortable to you, fine. But occasionally, when you want to see the people, we have the tables. Now, here's the thing. We also have to have the hours to make these tables available, right? We want to provide safe recreation in our town. It's one of our #1 goals. And sometimes that means we catch the normal, noon to 6 crowd. But we've actually expanded our hours so that we're open noon to 9 on weekdays. And on the weekends, we're open noon to 10 p.m. on Saturday and 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Sunday. And we're trying to give more people the options for positive enrichment in our area with a safe social construction of community through games. Now, it is Sunday night and it's a little challenging. Like right now, there's nobody at our table. So there's risk in knowing how much is enough and how much is a waste of money. Or if you just keep the doors open long enough, will somebody in this town think, I want to get my night shift friends and go play HeroClix. I want to go get my night shift friends and we're going to grab a game out of the board game library and we're going to play it where there's a clean, safe space. Like, all those things are options, and it's still a risk for us to be open this late on a Sunday. It's still a risk for us to have this much space. Do you know how many puzzles I could put on that wall? I could probably add more board games to my shop, but I don't know if I want to right now. Should I add another line? One day, will that be a line of video game cartridges? Like, that's marketable space, right? But right now it's not, because play spaces shouldn't have product in the way of the players. You don't want to put your product at risk. You don't want to have players worrying about knocking things off. Like, this is the best way to have a play space. So it's a trade-off. Is my play space going to help generate enough community that the community builds the community, and some of that community feels like, hey, Mind Sculpt Games is an important part of my life. I want to try to buy local and support the play space because the play space makes my life better. Like, that's our ultimate goal. If we can create customers like that, and those customers want to invite other people to enjoy what they enjoy, we win. That's just really how it works. Like, if we can market social and sell social and have a real quality social experience and it works, it's like Field of Dreams. Build it and they will come. Keep the doors open long enough and they will come. And offer enough tables and seats and they will come. Now, that doesn't mean our business succeeds. Like, having bottoms in those seats does not necessarily mean that we pay all our bills. But if we can get people to be here and to care about us because we provide something of meaning in their life, well, we think that'll pay it forward and we'll be able to pay our bills. So we had a really good weekend especially at these tables. The Magic pre-release, we don't have any kits left. We are sold out of pre-release kits. Woohoo! We've also sold quite a few booster boxes because our customers do believe in buying local. And we're hoping that we get lots of trade-ins and that the secondary market will matter and that we can grind out some extra dollars that way. But right now, we have a healthy Magic community. We have a healthy and growing Pokemon community on our Tuesdays. We have Yu-Gi-Oh! OTS events that use these tables. We got a HeroClix event coming up. This room right here, this is a room. It's what we call our war room because that's where our Warhammer players play. There's actually an extra table, and we used it for all 3 events in our Warhammer area for product. So we have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 tables that we put out, and we can set out more. Like when we had our PPTQ, there was an extra table right there. And we have these things on wheels so we can push them back and make more play space. Now the balance, yes, I care about the community, and yes, I care about the players, but I do have to pay the bills, and I don't want to work for free all my life. So the balance is figuring out how much play space we need and how much product space we need, and where the most long-term beneficial balance is for product and play space. So I don't exactly have an answer, but I love these tables. And so do other people in our community. People want to invite people to these tables. And the bigger customer base we build and the more positive experience history that we have, we can service a lot of people, and we can serve them in a way that they want to help others find the experience. And the good thing, like when I was talking about millennials and Generation Y, well, Generation Y, they're starting to become significant wage earners. They're graduating from college at this point, and they're going to have jobs, and they're going to have expendable income, and they're going to have a desire for safe human connection. Guess what we are? Future looks good, right? Let's hope we can keep these tables in this play space and the business keeps growing, but right now it's good. So thanks for listening, Boom or Bust. All the indicators seem good. I am not entirely sure on the math of whether this makes me more money than it costs me in not having the product space or the air conditioning running at extra hours. All that math's really hard. I was an English major in college. I do graphs for fun in Excel. I don't know that I've ever been taught how to do them. But things feel good. And the math seems to line up, and we hit our break-even point. And next month, building up into October, Black Friday and November and Christmas, our new location's treating us well. It's a nice place, it's well lit, it's got air conditioning, tons of space, and lots of people who care about building the community here. So maybe come join us sometime. 2521 10th Street in Great Bend, we're Mind Sculpt Games, and this is a small business run by a family that's trying to, you know, not bet the farm, but take the right risks to be able to make some money at some point. We've been open 15 months. We haven't paid ourselves yet, but I'm talking to my accountant about how much money I can take out without moving up an extra tax bracket, and hopefully soon that our efforts here help us pay down our mortgage. See you around.